A straight shooter with nostalgia I haven't felt in a long while. You make it feel like it's the arcade when we're playing Pixel Island till the day breaks. We'll keep breaking down, let's hope the next play. Things change, the score is rising as the screen fades. Ain't over when you stay. Now who's that saying they're the pinball wizard? He moves too slow with his grubby little fingers. Keep pressing buttons and see what gets triggered.
Woo! This is the Fight Guy, which rhymes with UFC Shanghai, wrapped up about 16 or so hours ago. I'll break down the entire card. I know I was unable to have a prediction video for this week. That's just another reason why you should follow me on X, because I always post my predictions on X, even if I can't make my YouTube video. And this week, I went 10-2, not bad. And the two that I missed were probably the only two fights on the card that I would want to get wrong. Michel Pereira getting upsetted by a Philly hometown Daukaus guy, making his re-debut in the UFC, his second debut. He's back, and he's back in fashion. And also Johnny Walker fraud-checking Ming Yang was awesome to put the Chinese crowd on ice to end the night. It made it worth staying up until 7 in the morning or whatever it was. I pulled an all-nighter for this one. A lot of you guys did. But if you didn't, stay tuned. I'm going to break down the entire card, including all the 6 finishes. And I had to work very hard to get all these clips, but I'm including all 6 of the finishes as well as a full breakdown of every single fight. So we'll go ahead and get right into it, starting with the very first fight on the early prelims. Started at 2 in the morning if you're in Texas. Uran Satybaldiev took on Diyar Nurgozhay. I went with Uran to win this fight. I thought it would go to a decision, honestly, or a knockout. I was not seeing a submission, and of all submissions, an Ezekiel choke. I'll add the clip here right behind me. An Ezekiel choke, it could be done from a few different angles. I would say this is the most common way. However, it's not a very common submission, especially in the UFC. I believe it's only the 5th Ezekiel choke in like UFC history or something like that, or it doesn't feel right to say that. Maybe in the division. I'll look it up. I'll add the stat on the screen behind me. But it was a very quick finish in the first round, about halfway through it. Got him out there. Diyar did a failed takedown attempt. I think Uran swept him over or landed right on mount and just went right for the Ezekiel. It was a quick fight. Got the crowd pumped up early. Zhao Long took on SuYoung. I went with SuYoung. I've been on a Korean UFC fighter kick lately. Like, I really, even if you've watched my recent videos in the past couple months where there have been Korean fighters debuting, coming from road from to UFC, or just however they've gotten into the promotion, I've always really picked the Korean fighters. They're really well-rounded. They have great jiu-jitsu, takedown defense. Like, what's the counter jiu-jitsu is the word I'm looking for, and their striking is very technical. SuYoung outclassed Zhao Long here. It was a close fight. Some people were saying it was a robbery, which is absolutely hilarious. SuYoung did exactly what he needed to win the first 2 rounds, I believe I gave him. The second round was very close. Could have almost went either way, but what am I thinking? No, the first round, Zhao Long, I think this is the fight that I'm thinking of. No, it's not. There's so many Chinese fighting. SuYoung outclassed him first and second round. That's, there's a lot of fights, a lot of Asian names. That's pretty much all I remember. Nothing really sticking out to me. There were no knockdowns or anything crazy this fight. It was just a good fight. It was a really entertaining, close fight, but SuYoung definitely did enough the first 2 rounds to get it done. No highlights or anything in mind from that one, so we'll just move on to the next fight, the third fight on the early prelims. Yizha took on Westin Wilson to get us started with the very first knockout of the night. This was a quick knockout. I'll add the clip here. Westin just kind of looked like Bambi out there. The way he was walking around, the way he was moving, it looked like he was getting stalked, which he was. Yizha, I believe, was the biggest favorite on the entire card, and he showed it. Getting Wilson out of there very quickly. We'll add the clip here. Just kind of sat him down. Looked like he shit his pants, and that was all she wrote for that one. Great night for China. Great start of the night for China, besides SuYoung. A dirty knockout on an American fighter. Really got the crowd fired up. It just pissed me off for some reason. When I saw Westin Wilson's body hit the canvas, his lifeless body, unconscious, it kind of pissed me off a little bit. Even though I picked Yizha to win, and I thought he was going to finish Westin Wilson, it just felt really brutal. And it kind of made me, like, okay to go to war with China, I think. Like, I think I'm almost on a couple more knockouts like that. I'm on board to go to war with China. So, yes, he's a dangerous fighter in that aspect. We'll move on. Michel Pereira took on Kyle Daukaus in what will I think is the biggest biggest upset on the card. Yeah, I think Michel Pereira was like a minus 300 favorite. I think this was Charles Johnson's upset was crazy. We'll get to that in a moment. But Kyle Daukaus really balled out round 1 against Michel Pereira, put him to sleep. I'll put the clip up here behind me. Not even 10 total strikes were landed. This fight, it was over very quickly. Michel Pereira just got caught. He's kind of chinny. Kyle Daukaus, he was cut from the UFC. When was he cut in the UFC? Let's take a quick gander. 11-0 with submission, so obviously he likes to keep it on the ground. He was in the UFC before, though. Yeah, coming off of 2 back-to-back knockouts. That's right, Eric Anders in 22, then he was cut. Okay, and, well, yeah, he's made his second UFC debut, and he made it in fashion, taking out Michel Pereira, who still has a little bit of aura for some reason. I know a lot of people say he didn't beat anybody really good, or, like they try to discredit his accomplishments in the UFC. Look, he's not Jamal Hill, all right? This guy has a little bit of aura, and, he went down to Brazil whenever they had the bad storms, I think, last year, and he went there just rescue people's dogs and stuff. We were talking about it on the X Spaces last night. Like, he's just a great guy. I picked him to win. This was the only fight I was wrong about on the prelims. A lot of people were wrong about it, but Kyle Daukaus, representing Philly, making his second debut in China. A lot of pressure. If he would have lost that fight, it probably would have been all she wrote for him. But Kyle Daukaus, dirty knockout. You've seen it behind me. We'll move on to the next fight. This was a masterclass by RongZhu. He took on Austin Hubbard. He looked really good. I wanted to pick Austin Hubbard, but my brain wouldn't let me do it. I went with RongZhu to win this fight. He was a pretty sizable favorite. You could see here a minus 320 before the fight started. What was Michel Pereira? Minus 240, okay. But RongZhu, he was a pretty heavy favorite. He landed a lot of strikes. He controlled this fight on the feet. I was going to say, he shut down a lot of Austin Hubbard's takedown attempts. I was looking at the left column. I saw 0, and I was like, fuck, am I thinking of a different fight? But no, this is indeed the Chinese guy I'm thinking of. He shut down most of Austin Hubbard's takedowns. I'm not even really remembering the 2 correctly. But yeah, you could see here Austin Hubbard was 2 for 12. He would get shut down, rejected on the takedown attempts, and RongZhu would oftentimes make him pay for it. A couple close calls. Austin Hubbard almost caught a couple more hard shots than he had to. But he's a tough guy. Went the distance. I gave RongZhu all 3 rounds, I believe. If you guys don't mind, real quick, let's take a look at what guy said. I believe I have RongZhu in here. Yeah, we'll get to the Mark Goddard deduction. Yeah, and RongZhu tried pulling a Holloway in the final 10 seconds. That's right. He tried pointing to the ground. Austin Hubbard didn't want any of that. But, yeah, I thought I put the rounds up here. Apparently I didn't. I gave RongZhu all 3 rounds, so we'll stick with that. We'll move on. It was a great fight. Very entertaining fight to watch. But my favorite fight on the entire card, I was looking forward to this one more than any other fight, and it was on the fucking prelims. Can you believe that? A ranked fight, Loner Kavanagh took on Charles Johnson in what would have made him top 15 in the flyweight division. Loner, it's his 3rd fight in the UFC. He looked really good. He was beating up Charles Johnson in the first round. I was nervous. Johnson had a slow start. I really like Charles Johnson. You guys know this. He might be one of my favorite flyweights. I think he might be I love Pantoja, but he's my favorite American flyweight. And if they fought each other, I'd have to go for the American flyweight and Charles Johnson, which it's very possible. Charles Johnson knocks out Loner Kavanagh in the 2nd round. We'll add the clip here. He just caught him. Kavanagh was very technical. Comes from the K1 kickboxing background. He's a very talented striker. You could see here he outstruck Charles Johnson. The body kicks, all the kicks in the first round was really the story of this fight. Loner Kavanagh was counting them up in the first round. 2nd round, you could kind of see he was getting a little bit tired. Like, not tired, but he wasn't as fast and as sharp as he was in the first round. Almost like he overexpended a little bit. Charles Johnson was just making it a little bit gritty, clenching him up against the cage a little bit, landing a bunch of body shots, just ripping him, elbow on the break, and then, sure enough, next time they go bounce off the cage, Loner Kavanagh goes to back up. His hands are down, and Johnson just fucking tags him right on the chin. Kavanagh's body just dropped. Like, right when he was stepping back, he was, like, in the air almost, like, 1 foot off the ground, and he gets caught and just his lights get shut off mid-step in the air. It was dirty. The bodies hit the floor. Charles Johnson holds his ranked position in the flyweight division. This guy deserves a lot, man. He was getting beat down in the first round, and there was a moment where I thought, like, man, no. You know, like, this guy's really had the brute of it. He's had to fight all these tough contenders. Like, give him a break. He's never been finished before. All 7 of his losses are via decision. He beat Joshua Van, knocked Van out in the 3rd round. People forget about that. People forget, man. Charles Johnson back in the win column. 4 in his last 5. Loner Kavanagh gets handed his first loss, loses his perfect record, and he is now 2-1 in the promotion. He's a tough guy. You know, he's a really tough kid. I'm excited to see, you know, where he goes. He did look a little bit small. I will add that. Looking a little bit small in the flyweight division is never a good thing. It doesn't get any smaller than that. Unless you transition, you could maybe go strawweight. We'll move on to the featured prelim bout. Maheshate took on Gage Young in this was a great fight. I gave it to, obviously, I picked Gage Young. I was going to say I gave the fight to Gage Young. If you see the strikes here, I know it doesn't always do the story here, but I mean, Gage had all the control time, landed over 50 strikes on Maheshate. Did I give Maheshate a round? I don't think I gave him a single round. I think I gave Gage Young all 3 of these rounds. I don't know why I'm not remembering this one as clearly. The next fight is really picture perfect in my brain, but yeah, Gage Young, he was definitely sharper, technically controlled. He landed the better shots. He landed more volume and the harder shots on his feet. I thought this fight would be a little bit closer. I thought Maheshate would have would have any jiu-jitsu. Didn't really use much there. He just kind of laid flat on his back when Gage Young took him down, and his grappling didn't look good, and maybe that's what affected his striking so much to where he couldn't keep up. But great win for Gage Young. America gets even on the scorecards against China. Actually, we have a few American wins. The Americans were really carrying the prelims. Let's fucking go, baby. We'll move on to the main card. Sorry, and this first fight on the main card pissed me off. Multiple on both sides, really. We'll get right into it. Nueraji took on Kiefer Crosbie. I'm not going to try to pronounce that first name. I don't think this guy's got a bright future in the UFC. I think he's going to get smoked in the welterweight division. I thought this was pathetic. I get that you're excited. You're in China. You're going to celebrate and whatever, but that illegal knee on Kiefer Crosbie was just... We'll talk about it. Let's talk about it. Not a very long fight. This fight ended very quickly. More than just a couple minutes because there was an illegal knee which caused the fight to get halted. Kiefer Crosbie took like a minute to recover. It was a very bad illegal knee. Props to Mark Goddard for a 2-point deduction for the intentional illegal blow to the ground, but if I was Kiefer Crosbie, I would have taken that full 5 minutes. Take more than 1 minute, bro. You just got kneed while you were fucking down. Badly. It was one of the worst knees I've seen in a long time on a downed opponent. Just blatantly, right in the center of the octagon, ran up to him and did it. Kiefer Crosbie takes 1 minute, tells Mark Goddard, all right, I'm ready to go. They get right back at it. He goes in for like a takedown attempt, a shitty takedown attempt, head on the wrong side, and Nueraji didn't even have to try that hard. He turned inside, end up on the top position, and he just started throwing elbows with Kiefer Crosbie's back against the octagon. It was low IQ for Crosbie. It was low IQ for Nueraji. You could have had that fight stolen from you, just kind of neutralized all the good energy, but they found a way to keep the crowd moving. He got the knockout win. Kiefer Crosbie, that was dumb, but he took it on the chin like a man, I guess. You got to tip your hat to him. Very Anthony Smith of you to do that. But yeah, Kiefer Crosbie, I don't know, man. I thought he was going to take Nueraji to the distance. I really did. I thought, like, with how it was going before he got kneed, I think Nueraji was he's a little bit younger, he's a little bit less experienced. I thought that, he would tire out and just not be as effective as he is early on. So, I mean, he smelled blood in the water. As soon as the injury time was over, I mean, he went right to work on Crosbie, got the finish in the first round. So, congratulations to him. I'm happy he didn't get a performance of the night bonus. We'll get into all the fighters. Well, before we move on, let's go ahead and get into all the performance of the night bonuses. Fuck it. Everybody deserved it. It was a great performance. I think they should add one more performance of the night bonus, and it should have went to Yiza. I mean, he was the biggest favorite on the card, so maybe not, but whatever. Johnny Walker got a performance of the night. Charles Johnson got a performance of the night. Kyle Daukaus and Uran Satybaldiev for a very rare submission via Ezekiel choke. Those were the bonuses. Yeah, like I said, you could give Yiza one. I'm on board with not giving Maheshate after that. Not Maheshate, but Nueraji after that illegal knee. But we'll go ahead. We'll move on to the next fight on the main card, the second fight. Sumudaerji took on Kevin Borges in a very one-sided fight. You can see here Kevin Borges landed 23 total strikes for the whole 15 minutes. He had some control time, but it was against the cage. Like, it was very ineffective. Sumudaerji had the underhooks. He was landing way more strikes than Kevin Borges, so you could pretty much disregard that control time. Kevin did absolutely nothing with it. This was just a masterclass by Sumudaerji on the feet. He just outstruck the shit out of Kevin Borges for 3 straight rounds. It's really simple. You can go back and watch it. You're not really missing anything crazy. No highlight reels, nothing, major of Sumudaerji's game. It was just a clash of styles. His style was better. It was a good fight. We'll move on to another good fight. I gave this one 30-27 for our winner, Sergei Pavlovich, who took on Waldo Cortes-Acosta in the heavyweight division. Waldo Cortes-Acosta, we'll start with him. He just looked weird. He kind of gave Jamal Hill vibes near the end of the fight. He was emoting a lot after getting hit significantly in the face and the body. His leg was getting kicked up. He was very weird towards the end of the fight. Started the fight, I guess you could say his best round was in the first round, and then he just kind of melted like a stick of butter on a plate. But Sergei Pavlovich, he was the more technical. He was setting up his shots. His timing was perfect. He looked very good. He wasn't as aggressive, but he had some aggressive moments where he got in there and landed some hard shots. Every now and then, Waldo Cortes-Acosta would counter. Like maybe every 3 times Sergei Pavlovich would go in, Waldo would counter twice or once. He didn't look that great. I don't really know what else to say. Sergei Pavlovich just looked way more technically savvy on the feet than Waldo Cortes-Acosta. I think this fight was pretty straightforward to call. Again, at this point, perfect on predictions. We went with Sergei Pavlovich here. I thought he won 30-27, but I guess a judge gave Cortes-Acosta round 1. Would that make sense? I think round 1. But great win for Sergei Pavlovich. We'll move on to the co-main event, the most boring fight on the card. I actually fell asleep on the first round on this fight. I stayed up all day, all night. It's like 6:45 or 7 in the morning. I don't even know. Round 1, Brian Ortega, Aljamain Sterling. I got to stay awake for this one. Brian Ortega's fighting T-City, baby. Can't miss this. Round 1 was so boring. I fell asleep, apparently. I woke up to a bunch of texts from my friends because I was in a Twitter space, and I just fell asleep snoring. So, Brian Ortega, Aljamain Sterling. I had to rewatch the fight when I woke up. I didn't even know Brian Ortega landed that many strikes, but it was very slow paced. I was hoping there'd be more grappling exchanges. I thought this would be something fun, like a Gamrot versus Sarukian, like a hot scramble, like Dariush and shit. Who did Dariush fight when they were fucking scrambling around? Was it Sarukian as well? No, it wasn't Sarukian. I don't know. I thought we would see some scrambles. I thought we would see a clash of styles, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, but these guys kept it on the feet the entire first 3 rounds. I didn't see a single takedown attempt. Aljamain started to really shoot in the 4th and 5th round, controlled Ortega a bit. Aljamain Sterling was a much more effective striker on the feet, and Herb Dean had to tell Aljamain Sterling to stop running at some point, I believe in like the 3rd round. It was very boring. Aljamain Sterling, of course, asking for a title shot. I don't care. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't impressed with this performance as much because I was more concerned with Brian Ortega the day before. I went with Aljamain Sterling. I thought he was going to win this fight even before Ortega went to the hospital, had the bad weight cut, whatever is going on. We'll get some clarification with Ariel this week, but Aljamain Sterling was a no-brainer pick, especially after Ortega had his little visit to the hospital. Why this was a 5-round fight, catch weight. It was a weird. It was just weird. it's like Aljamain Sterling was supposed to win that fight, and he won the fight how he was supposed to, and nobody's impressed. That's basically the recap on that fight. We'll move on to the main event here. Johnny Walker took on Zhang Mingyang. I am officially handing out my second fraud check of 2025, and it is written to Zhang Mingyang from the Bank of Frauds, eligible for $1 as of August 23rd, 2025. Congratulations to Zhang Mingyang. You have officially been fraud checked by the fight guy. I don't like to shit on fighters. I don't make fun of and trash people. If you went out there and you looked ass, I'm going to call you out for it. And Zhang Mingyang was somebody who was supposed to be a knockout artist. He's supposed to knock everybody out, especially a chinny Johnny Walker coming off of 2 back-to-back knockouts, first and second round, I believe. And a no contest. Oh, yeah, no contest, Ankalaev, Odazemir. Yeah. I mean, Johnny Walker, he's been counted out. I counted him out. I went with Zhang Mingyang to win this fight. I bought into the hype. And Johnny Walker looked great. He was fucking up Zhang Mingyang's legs. We'll start there. In the first round, the biggest reason why I'm giving Zhang Mingyang this fraud check, of course, it's because he got knocked out by Johnny Walker, but he had no ability to check leg kicks. He was out there, and it looked like he's never seen a leg kick in his life. He was out there just... What the fuck was that? What is going on? I've never felt this before. What is that? How do I defend this? He's getting kicked in the legs, throwing punches and shit. I mean, Zhang Mingyang, hot ass. He didn't look great. But I'm happy that Johnny Walker got the comeback win. I'm buying stock in the Walkers again. I bought stock in Walter Walker after the first heel hook. And definitely I bought some more shares after the second heel hook. But Johnny Walker, fraud checking Zhang Mingyang's what I needed. It wasn't on my Fight Guy 2025 bingo card. I didn't expect the funny statistic here, but Johnny Walker is the first Brazilian to win in a main event in 2025, and it is August, the end of August. And I thought Pantoja, I was like, wait, didn't Pantoja defend the belt against Kai? But that was a co-main event. Out of all the Brazilians who have fought in main events this year, Johnny Walker's the first one to get it done, get them in the win column. They're 1-11 on main events, so it gets Brazil back in the win column for the first time this year, in the win column. Zhang Mingyang, he's got to work on a lot. He's got to work on his striking. He left a lot of holes on his feet. Literally, he's got holes in his feet. Didn't check any leg kicks. Didn't look great. But yeah, congratulations, Johnny Walker. We'll add the clip here behind me if you didn't see it already. But, that was the entire card. We also had some movement here on the bingo card, which... All right, I think it's right here. Or is it right here? Yeah, it's right here. All right, so we have our bingo, unfortunately. I need to cover up the space right here, but it's going to be Michael Bisping correcting Lorisenko. I didn't have the commentating on for much of the night. I was doing my live commentating on Twitter, which if you ever want to join me any week on Twitter, we run it with the squad. We commentate every single fight. Let's see, where is it, Rob? Right here. Rob Nakamura. Go ahead and give him a follow. J-Spec, the host. We do live lounges every single Saturday for every single card. We'll be back at it this Friday for Bare Knuckle, but yeah, so you can hang out there. We commentate the entire fight, so if you don't want to listen to Lorisenko talk, that was the alternative, but I did have it on very low in the background, and when the guys were quiet, I did hear Michael Bisping correcting Lorisenko like 4 different occasions. There was no avoiding it. I knew it was inevitably going to happen. So that's going to give us our first bingo. I'll put the update on Twitter here, and I'll announce a little bit later in the year who's going to end up beating my ass. We'll get more details. We'll get into that later on, but we have our first bingo. So I'm going to keep filling in the card as we move on throughout the year, but yeah, that's pretty much been it. That's the Fight Guy breaking down UFC Shanghai. It was a very good card aside from the Ortega Aljamain Sterling fight. It was amazing. We had 12 fights, 7 on the prelims, 5 on the main card. I got 1 on the prelims wrong, 1 on the main card wrong. We had 6 decisions, 6 finishes. It was a well-balanced card and no female fights. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll have another special video come out this weekend, later this week, because there's no UFC card. So maybe we'll break down the Contender Series. I'll see you then. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace.